Welcome to Manga Machinations! This is episode number 510, and this week we're doing a Shoujo Showdown. I'm Dakazu, and with me is Narfox8.
Doki Dar here.
And Morgana Santilli.
Hi there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. We're essentially a book club for manga. For our main segment this week, we'll be looking at 3 different shoujo manga and reading the first volume. It's basically a triple dip, but with shoujo manga. That's why it's called Shoujo Showdown. We're ready to see if Darfox's shoujo heart will go doki doki.
Doki Dar Fujoshi Fox is ready.
That's something else. You took a fucking turn. Do you know what Fujoshi means?
Absolutely.
Okay. Just heading down the road to Morgana, huh?
Yes. My evil plan is working.
By hook or by crook, we're gonna be shoujo fans, which I think it's fair to say we already are.
Yeah.
Reading more stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's always fun to read more shoujo. But yeah, we'll talk about that in our main segment. But first, we are recording live on our YouTube, youtube.com/MangaMacTV. If you want to see the live recording, replay, head over there, subscribe, leave some comments. Look at Darfox's nice gray polo shirt. Darfox always wears polos.
I always wear polos for work. So if you see me wearing a polo, I must have just come off of work.
Yeah, you work today, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Sometimes with the podcast I try and wear t-shirts with, designs or graphics on them, but I only own like 7 t-shirts. So you
total?
See, 7 like design with t-shirts with graphics on them. So you see them cycle in and out. I got the Kaiji one. I got the
I was gonna say I have so many, and I think it's because I worked in the comic shop for so long that it was like easy to wear like a nerd shirt every day.
Yeah, very common
swag.
Swag.
Yeah, so I have a lot of, and now I don't wear them as much because like I can't wear them for work things because none of them are work properties. Well, no, none of them are work properties. Like I don't have like a toilet bone Hanako-kun shirt. Like I have
Morgana, is that a Yu Yu Hakusho shirt? That's Shueisha.
Exactly. So
take that shirt off.
If I worked a convention, I can't wear those. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
You want
to? I mean, I can wear them at home. I work from home, so I can wear them around, and I wear them. My coworkers see my non-yen nerd shirts.
How dare you?
I know.
No company pride for Morgana.
I mean, I do. It's just that all my favorite books that we publish don't really have like t-shirts. I would kill for a Bride Story shirt. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, put some Kaoru art on a t-shirt. I'd wear that all the time.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, most of your clothes is gonna match what you wear for work. I used to work at schools, so I had dress shirts and ties.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Hawaii, and then teachers here wear aloha shirts. So I got a bunch of aloha shirts. But I lost a bunch of weight, so none of them fit me anymore. They're huge. And then I was just wearing... I could not wear graphic designs on, like... I could wear t-shirts, but like they're just like bland, straight color t-shirts with no designs on them.
Mm-hmm. Looking like a Simpsons character.
Mm-hmm. So I have a bunch of Simpsons character shirts. Yeah. I only have a couple... I think I have less than 5 actual... like design shirts, but also I don't know if I would walk around wearing a Yu Yu Hakusho shirt.
Lack of dedication.
Yeah, he already gets enough questions about his Mass Effect cap.
Oh my god, I hate that baseball cap. It was a birthday present, and it was like the only baseball cap I had for a long time. So whenever like, oh, my hair's messy, I'll just put a baseball cap on, go to the store. At least one person would be like, "Oh, I love Mass Effect." I'd be like, I really don't care, man. It's just the hat I wear. I finally got like an Adidas hat, so no one talks to me about, oh, I love Adidas.
Now they're like, oh, do you dream about sex, right? Am I right, guy? And they like try and high five you.
Oh man.
You haven't heard that in a minute, have you?
Not ever.
Not ever.
Oh, you lucky.
Well, now that we got our fun intro tangent out of the way, I want to also mention that if you want to support our podcast, head over to ko-fi.com/mangamac to buy us a coffee. Buying a coffee for us helps support our podcast so we can buy more manga for future projects. Darfox has a little graphic up on our YouTube stream, and it shows that the Land of the Lusters retrospective has been funded by Philip. He also funded our Berserk Psycho Selection episode, which is already out. You can go listen to that. Our Ooku the Inner Chambers retrospective is funded by Magamachu, Vicky Dalton, and Lulu. And shoutouts to everyone else who funded us: Delude, Mia, Wyatt, Dr. Melface, Poor Mexican 72, Liquidus002, Extine, Jen, and Chris from Canada, who is not on this graphic because Darfox keeps forgetting to put him on this graphic.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
for
super
shame.
ungrateful.
For shame, Dar. But yeah, Chris from Canada has also donated. But again, if you want to help support this podcast, please consider buying us a coffee. Please and thank you. Okay, let us move along to some what you been reading next. I'm just going first today.
Okay, wow.
Whoa.
Throwing his weight around.
Listen, I'm really busy with work, so I basically have not really read anything new. Darfox, I was rereading Sanzoku Diary. Remember good old Sanzoku Diary?
Oh, that's the wilderness one, right?
The hunting manga.
Yeah.
Morgana, have I ever talked about Sanzoku Diary while you were here?
I think so.
Well, click that link to the first chapter of Sanzoku Diary, so you can. I'll relive Sanzoku Diary, which is a old manga that came out in 2011.
Old.
I was talking old for this podcast. Like I talked about in the first couple of years of Manga Machinations.
Yeah, this is a Manga Mac throwback right here. This was still when I was hearing about Dagzu talk about like his essay manga, his nonfiction manga, and I was like, wow, manga is really interesting. It's not just Dragon Ball Z. There's some other stuff out there. You know, I was still like being surprised. Now
I was broadening Darfox's horizons.
Yeah, now Dagzu says I read a manga about somebody who poops, and the poop turns to gold, and it's a real story. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's totally up Dagzu's alley.
Yeah, Sanzoku Diary, Morgana, is a manga by Kentaro Okamoto, who was an active hunter while he wrote the manga. And yeah, he grew up under the influence of his grandfather, going out and camping, and his grandfather would hunt stuff. Sometimes he was catching birds that were on like the endangered species list. This is a long time ago. We don't talk about this anymore. But he decided to, I'm going to be a hunter. And Sanzoku means a bandit. So it is Bandit Diaries. Because in this first chapter, he talks to a girl he was dating. He was like, oh yeah, I'm excited to be a hunter. And she was like, ew, that's awful. That's disgusting. I can't believe you do that. But yeah, it's approaching hunting as an actual thing where people hunt for game to eat. They go through the actual process in Japan to get a firearm license. And then Okamoto is a weirdo, so he only uses an air rifle. It's a rifle that is not powered by gunpowder.
Oh, interesting.
It's a pump action, so you pump the stock a bunch to like build up air pressure to fire like an air pellet to hunt. It's good for bird hunting and stuff. And yeah, it's like 7 total volumes. He did an extra volume where it was about him going spearfishing, which was a lot of fun as well. But yeah, he's kind of a hunting freak in the sense that he will eat anything because he's just curious. And so there are a lot of examples. Here in this first chapter, he finds some rabbit poop. And he's like, I heard you can eat this. And then he puts it in his mouth. And then he's like, ugh! because it's rabbit poop.
Just because
Big
you
sp-
can doesn't mean you should.
Well, apparently, if they look like little chocolate bites, and if they're fresh, you can eat them for sustenance if you're ever in a survival situation.
If they're not fresh, you can't.
He mentions
Cool.
that the texture is like clay.
Oh, I'm
Yum.
sure, yeah.
But yeah, he does a lot. He eats a lot of weird things. I think the weirdest thing he ate was a Nutria. Nutria. It's one of those large rodents.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great story because he caught one with his hunting friend, and his hunting friend was like, "This thing is kind of cute, right?" And it's like, "Yeah, but don't get attached. We got to eat it." So he left to go like get supplies so they could, what's the term when you prepare meat? Dissect, I guess.
Butcher it?
Yeah, butcher it. So he left to go butcher stuff, and when he turned around, he saw his hunter friend release it and like let it loose. And when he was like, "Did you just let the nutria go?" His friend was like, "No, it got away." And later they went out drinking, and he admitted, "Yeah, I let it go. What are you gonna do about it?" It's like, "You bastard."
Doesn't have the heart for hunting.
He does eventually go out with another like ace hunter guy, and they eat the nutria. He ate a lot of weird shit with that guy. Like he ate an actual green turtle, and it was like insane. Not like Japanese snapping turtle, which is like commonly eaten in Japan, but like an actual like regular ass turtle, and it was some stinky stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting nonfiction manga to read about all the stuff that he eats, and also things that happen to him as he hunts. He got in a real bad accident once. He fell down a hill, and he got stabbed in the eye with
Oh my.
a branch. Luckily, he did not go blind. It was in the white.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for unlocking a new fear.
Eye trauma.
Don't ever fall, or you might poke your eye out.
It was really funny because it was like it had nothing to do with actually like any kind of firearms or anything, right?
Which
It's
is what
just
you would
like,
think, you know.
yeah. But it's a fascinating manga, and I hadn't reread it in a while, so I was rereading it. I was like, this is making me hungry, like when he eats a crow.
I don't know if that would make me hungry, but
Yeah, Sanzoku Diary is a Manga Mac classic, so that was fun to revisit.
now this manga, they worked on that survivalist anime, right? Is that right? which is what he would be most known for, because that was actually released in the states. As you know, it was simulcasted in the states, but it was like
Are You Lost? Yes.
it
It's
it
a
w-
manga that became an anime about 4 high school girls that get stuck on a deserted island after a plane crash.
and it's very like moe. It's very like cutesy, but like
Oh,
the
it's just straight up etchy. These high school girls are like in their underwear, like trying to survive.
yeah, one of the first episodes, if not the first episode, um like one of them gets stung by a jellyfish, so I think they have to pee on each other. So like
Yep.
it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely
Oh boy.
it's definitely like degenerate shit. Um, but I always found it funny that like he made this manga that people like dogs would read, and like, oh, that's cool, this is interesting. And then he wanted to go get paid, so he went to go make that.
Yes, he was the writer on that.
And I hope he got paid.
Mm-hmm. He's currently working as a manga author.
So not drawing, but writing.
Yeah, no longer drawing, just writing. Maybe I'll check out some of his other works and come back, but I appreciate his kind of like simple drawing style. He's not the best artist, but you know, for nonfiction it works.
Yeah, I mean, I like the pages I have up right now. They're clear.
Yep. Also, very rare for like, I don't think there's been a couple other like manga about hunting. Like there was Trap Girl, which takes place with a college, not college, a high school girl out in the countryside. She uses traps to hunt for boars and deer and stuff like that. They talk about trap hunting, which Okamoto also does in this Sanzoku Diary. He does both shoot hunting and trap hunting. There's some survivalist manga out there, but an actual manga about using guns for hunting, I think he might be the only one that I read. He even like detailed the process of getting his gun license, Morgana. And when he went to go like get his gun license, he was like, "Oh shit, I'm wearing really flashy clothes. I wonder if like they're not gonna give me my license because I might look like some kind of degenerate punk." But he still got it.
If only that would stop people in the U.S. from handing out gun licenses.
Oh,
I don't like the look of you. Can't have a gun.
And in Japan, like even after you have your gun license, you have to keep your gun in your gun locker at all times, which the police come to inspect once you get it installed. And if you run into any kind of trouble, like you start a fight or anything, you can immediately lose your gun license.
So, that sounds great to me personally, but I'm very opposed to guns in general. They freak me out. But my question then is, why get a gun license? What can you do with it? You know, can you take it to go like at a shooting range, or like, is it to protect your home? Like, what is because the laws are so restrictive, what is the point of getting a gun to begin with?
In Japan, it's for hunting.
Hunting.
It's for game hunters, yeah. And then game hunters are also employed by the city to exterminate any kind of like pests and stuff like that, or overpopulation as well.
Right, yeah.
Like if the boar runs into the city or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. The Okamoto knows like a grandpa who's an ace hunter, and apparently the grandpa has a story about how a boar ran into a city and was causing problem, and he left a funeral, so he's dressed all in like a black suit, and he fucking ran his car into the boar, got out of his car, got onto the front of his car, and then whacked it to death with like a stick.
Well, I could have done that. I don't need a license to do that.
Well, you need a license to like, you know, exterminate pests like that. Regular people cannot. You're not supposed to. It's against the law.
License to kill.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here in Florida, if I start a fight, I can kill somebody. I just wanted to bring the room down a little bit.
You sure did. I didn't know what to say. I was like,
I was gonna say, I don't think I could beat a boar to death. They're pretty tenacious, I think.
Yeah, don't they have like really tough skulls?
And they've got tusks, I think.
Yeah, the tusks are really dangerous.
I mean, I guess if you hit it with your car first, you are in an advantage.
Yeah, if it's pinned, I don't think it could lift up a car, but yeah.
Might damage your bumper though.
Oh yeah.
Up here in New England, we need to be careful about deer and moose. Moose is usually more north than where I am, like New Hampshire, Maine, they get moose. But if you hit one of those, your car is totaled. Your car is fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
I used to live in upstate New York. I knew many people who like, and my mom too, who I think I was in the car when she hit a deer.
Yeah.
Especially like if you drive at night.
Yep.
Or yeah. You got to be real careful on the highway.
I am afraid of moose.
You should be. They're huge.
They're enormous and apparently really bad-tempered.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, moose, they're so majestic," because they've never seen a real one in life. They're terrifying.
They're goofy looking, is the thing. You know, we've all
yeah,
we've
it's
all
like
watched,
a hippo.
We've all watched Rocky and Bullwinkle. I am also terrified of hippos, actually. They are also super dangerous. If it came down between like a hippo or a crocodile, I'd take my chances with the crocodile, thanks. The crocodile can't smash my skull between its jaws like a hippo can.
Yeah, there was a recent video of a hippo like swimming after a motorboat and catching up, and like chomping on the actual like propellers. It's like really scary. But
I believe it.
apparently they can move.
Yeah, they look like big lumbering lumps on land, but those things they ain't slow. And they got big jaws, big scary powerful jaws.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, enough about my fear of animals that seem placid.
Have I ever told y'all that the first thing I would do if I got superpowers, like if I got Superman superpowers, is I'd just go fly and find a tiger to pet it, or like a lion to pet it, or bear, like any one of these huge fluffy animals that are super dangerous. I would just like, time to do the scritches and pet this giant animal.
I think you did mention that once.
And then I might think about like helping the world or something. But
listen,
I know
you gotta
like
have
petting.
priorities.
Yeah.
I have another manga that I guess I can talk about.
Wow.
It's not. It's a fine manga, but it's like I don't know. I didn't think it was like kind of worth talking about on this podcast, but
Damn.
I guess I'll big it up because I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel this week. I read a manga called Komen Fufu. I've been reading it over on Comic Action, but they also have a volume release out. It is about a man on the run who becomes the husband of a fox yokai.
This is a great first image for this manga.
The title translates to the fox mask couple, or the fox face couple. Because one is a literal fox, and the other is a man on the run. So here's the thing. The fox yokai, she's like, she eats like the living essence of humans. And she's like, if I keep this human around, I can just feed off of his human essence. And the human is like, you know, he's a death row inmate on the run. He's like, if I hide out here in her home, in the outer worlds, you know, outside of the human world, I won't get caught. So they're both kind of playing each other. But then they start liking each other, Morgana.
Oh shit. Romance.
Human animal romance.
Yeah. That's getting more popular, even in English. I remember years ago buying a magazine, a manga magazine from Kinokuniya, a BL magazine in Japanese, and seeing some like romance between a guy and like a bird man. And I was like, this shit will never fly in English. And now there's like a ton of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's a manga that, just like I described, is what it is. Occasionally, the fox woman is like, I guess, you know, she gets frustrated with him, and she's like, I'll piss him off. She'll get pissed off, and she'll be like, I guess I'll just eat this human. And then the human kind of figures out, she seems kind of mad. Maybe I should, you know, be sweet on her and make love to her. And that kind of just appeases the fox. And then they continue being husband and wife. So I'm waiting for something else to happen. But so far, nothing has happened yet.
So she can morph to like a human form?
Yes.
Boo, boring.
Though he, like, in the first chapter, he immediately stops her human form and gets her to turn back into fox. And then afterwards, they're like, I'm surprised I could actually do it.
Manga knows what they're doing.
Yeah. 100%. Don't keep turning the pages, though. You're gonna get into something saucy, not for YouTube.
Oh!
But yeah, I really don't have that much to say about it. It's pretty entertaining. And I'll probably keep reading this.
This is up many people's alley.
Yes, it is done by Nico Iwatobi. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
I might go first because I was like, I got nothing. Just bring up Sons of Diary again. We'll eat up 10 minutes.
Heck yeah.
Anything from you, Dar?
Yes, I could talk a little bit about something because I don't want to burn cast because I might be going to a podcast eventually to talk about a certain webtoon called Jungle Juice.
Oh, that's a nice press title.
Oh yes, and if I might be, I should have looked this up before the podcast, but there might be an anime announced for this. I feel like I did hear that. Having read the first few chapters, I could definitely see an anime of this being popular. But Jungle Juice is a story about a guy who has dragonfly wings. This was 1 second. Okay. Um. So this this guy got dragonfly wings out of like seemingly a freak situation where he killed a dragonfly with like a can of raid, and then the dragonfly immediately like burst into like smoke, and he accidentally like breathed in some of the smoke, so then his DNA got overridden by the dragonfly. And the first chapter is mostly about him desperately wanting to be popular and desperately wanting to be like beloved by people. He has kind of like almost kind of has a complex about being lonely and people not loving him. But now he's like a freak because he has dragonfly wings and they're gross looking and stuff. So he's desperately trying to hide it. He wraps them down, he binds them, and he accidentally outs himself because he has to save somebody. So he flies and catches them, and sure enough, everybody like ostracizes him and they think he's a freak. But something weird happens where like no authorities show up and like interrogate him about his wings. For some reason, it just even though he did it in broad daylight, it just seems like it got swept under the rug and it just became like rumors, and nobody believes it's real. Because it turns out there's like a secret society of bug people, because this has happened to a lot of people. And there's a whole school of bugs, so it's kind of like My Hero Bugademia. So like he basically goes and joins the school. The base premise that you learn over the first couple of chapters or episodes, because that's what Webtoon calls the chapters, is that he has to be valedictorian of the bug school, because the valedictorian of the bug school, you get like the cure. So if you take this cure, it's really hard to make, so they can't just mass produce it. So they just save it for the most deserving people, which is people who work their hardest at the school. At least that's the way it's presented in the beginning of the story. And you get this, you could drink it, and it cures you of your bugness. It rewrites your DNA to be human again. So the entertaining bit about... Yeah, sorry, what was confusing about that?
Wait, so the goal of this is to not be a bug person anymore, and they're having like a tournament for this?
Not a tournament. They're going to school. Although they do still fight. I'm getting there. So...
I know how these work.
So, one of the fun aspects about the book is basically seeing the different bug-human hybrids. Some of them look kind of monstrous, and some of them just look pretty normal with just like very slight body modifications, or maybe their eyes look different. The main like woman character in the book looks completely normal. But when she takes her cap off, she has those very iconic long antennas that kind of go up and droop all the way down. Can you guess what bug she's supposed to be? They actually haven't said what bug she is, but she's clearly a cockroach. So she's like a babe cockroach, but she doesn't look any different.
Dar, how are you handling this? Sounds worse than like the ecchi cockroach manga.
No, I mean like It
Sexy cockroach
it
girl.
it hasn't even it hasn't really come up. Like there hasn't really been room for romance. I'm wanting to begin the story, um, but it's I like the art and it's pretty fun and creative with like the different designs, and it's just a weird concept because I mean it's not that weird concept. There's a lot of stories about like if like Naruto you go to ninja school, My Hero Academia you go to hero school, but this is you go to bug school, so it's really goofy, um, but it's also kind of earnest, and the main character is mostly likable, even though he has like that I need to be loved kind of complex. But they kind of go through a lot, so it's fun. It's a good time. I haven't got very far into it, but yeah, it's I haven't read that many webtoons, but this is definitely one of the better ones I've read.
You said this is for a podcast. Which podcast?
Oh ho ho! Which podcast you ask? Hmm.
Let's see, which podcast do we know that does manhwa?
It's for Soju wanna read manhwa to be released at a indeterminate time. I don't want to talk too much more about it because first of all, I'm still pretty early on, and second of all, I don't want to burn cast for that.
Now is the time that I admit that I haven't read it yet, even though it's an Eyes Press book. But I'm glad to hear that you like it because I've heard that it's fun, but I haven't had a chance yet to check it out. So now I feel more inspired to go poke at it.
Yeah, I could definitely see if you're like a bug otaku, or if you're like a just a biology geek and you like a lot of insect stuff. This book is will be extra fun because like it does that thing where like it designs characters uniquely to like be humanoid but still kind of have some of the aspects of the bug, but then also they have like fighting techniques that are like somewhat bug related, or abilities that are bug related, which is like pretty goofy, but it's a lot of fun.
Does it does it have the thing where like there's an author like inserting narration about the cockroach has the ability to move at X amount of miles per hour?
Not super heavy handed. It's usually just like a square blurb, or not even a blurb, it's just like a sentence, and then is usually the characters themselves are screaming at each other like, "Watch out! This guy's a water bug. You don't want to fight him in the water. He'll drag you down." That kind of thing.
Ah, I mean, there's been a lot of like bugs go way back to a lot of like
Yeah, they existed for like a long time.
comic media. Mm-hmm. Kamen Rider. He's a bug.
He's a beetle. What's it?
No, he's a grasshopper.
Kamen Rider is a grasshopper.
Yeah, dude.
Why did I know that?
Look at his eyes.
Yeah.
And you know that Pokemon exists because the creator used to like catching bugs.
Yeah. Japan and their bug catching stuff. I don't know, man.
They got some big old beetles.
Yeah.
I've got some big old beetles. This summer I've seen some not like that big, but like I don't know, 2 inches long, like beetles with pincers. Never seen them up here before, but they've been in my neighborhood lately.
Now I know they're different than roaches, but I still don't really fuck with beetles. I'm not way down with beetles.
I'm okay with beetles. I'm also well, I was gonna say I'm okay with roaches. I'm not okay with roaches in my house.
Right.
I am okay with like, I mean, I've talked about the Madagascar hissing cockroaches that my mother-in-law bred for a while. Those are cute. They're really not nasty like New York apartment roaches. The I was visiting a friend of mine who lives in New York City. This was a couple years ago, and she had described to me how bad the roaches were in their apartment. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds terrible." And then we saw one. And I was like, "Oh, they're huge." And like they're so big that when they walk across the floor, you can hear them.
You hear them dragging their ass.
Yeah, like clicking their little tiny roach feet.
Yeah. So I've seen various like memes online about when you're going on a trip in New York, and they they're doing stuff like they're covering up the the sink drain, and they're weighing it down, and they're covering up outlets and stuff. And it's because they just come in and out, and if especially if you're not home, then they know they have like free reign of your apartment, and they're gonna come out way more. They're just all over like the insides of the apartments and the plumbing.
Sounds like my life.
Oh,
That's
oh
what
yeah,
happens when you live in a jungle, Morgana.
yeah. And you know, New York is a concrete jungle. Yeah, I mean, technically I live in a city, but it's pretty, I don't know, we're really close to a lot of rural areas, so we get some interesting wildlife around here.
You got the rats.
We don't have, I haven't seen rats. We've got a lot of feral cats in our neighborhood. Kind of the ones that have been like trap, neuter, release sort of deal. Get some bats, but that's pretty common.
Oh, bats.
Yeah, we get bats.
Oh my god, bats.
You get bats?
Have I told Dar? I've told the bat story on the podcast, haven't I?
Your backstory. I don't.
Maybe I told it on the old podcast.
Yeah,
I'll tell
maybe.
it real quick because I don't think Morgana's heard it. So Morgana, I think was I in middle school? I think middle school or like going to high school. For summer, I was in a community musical, and the performance was in a building that's very old. Okay, the dressing room was in like above the stage, and during one part, I had to run up and get changed real fast, and I'm the only one who has to go back upstairs to go get changed, right? And this was during a performance. I run up the stairs, and then something flies at my face. It's a fucking bat that lives in that building.
Oh my gosh.
I did everything in my power not to like scream out loud, but I fell on my ass.
Was this your Batman transformation moment?
No,
All right, is this admitting that you're a vigilante?
This is why I don't like moths. And sometimes there are
Oh.
like big ass moths like around here. And like if they are, I tell my wife, is like, please go take care of that. I can't deal with it. Because I know they don't mean any harm, but like just something flying around my face,
Yeah.
like it makes me remember that and just freaks me out.
I love bats. And bats will eat the moths, by the way. I love bats. The sad truth is though that like they're really kind of dangerous to humans, and I don't mean that in like you shouldn't touch them. Those guys have rabies. Like they're gonna give you all kinds of illnesses, and it makes me sad because I just want to snuggle the flying mouse. When I was I was in Italy for a semester studying abroad, and one of the other groups of my hall had so in Italy you don't have screens on your windows. You just open the window and things come in, and it just happens, and you just deal with it. And somebody else on the hall had a bat fly in, and we had to kind of usher it out of the room, which was a lot of fun. We also had my roommate and I had, because we had the windows open, this giant grasshopper, and I'm telling, this was like a locust. I mean, it was, I don't know, 6 inches long. It was huge, just this enormous. I've never seen anything like it. Because you just don't have screens. You just open the whole goddamn window when it's hot.
Your bat flying in story reminds me of our friend who had to deal with a bat while we were playing video games with him. Remember that, Dar?
X.
Yeah, our friend
Yeah.
X.
We were playing a game, and he's like, "I'll be right back," and he came back and like, "I have to deal with a bat."
Yep,
It
a bat flew
happens.
into his room.
But
Poor things.
wait, he said it like it walked up to him. Like it wasn't him flying. Like it walked up to him and looked at him, and then like screeched and flew away.
Poor thing. It was probably so confused. They get so like disoriented with like the light and everything and noise.
Yep.
I love bats. They're good for the environment. Bad for people. Don't touch bats.
We have a couple of I don't know what they're called. They're like bat nest, or they're like these
Oh.
slats of wood.
Yeah,
that
bat
the-
houses.
that they like hide up, so like they're placed around all out here, so they fly around between them at night. But I never really see them. It's just I know they're in our local like environment.
Okay, I think we'll move away from bats. Dart, anything else besides jungle juice?
No, I think that's all.
Okay. Morgan, do you have anything this week?
No, instead of reading in my spare time, I've been playing Cozy Grove. I think, did I tell you guys about this game a while ago?
Maybe.
I think I
Doesn't
might
sound
have.
familiar.
Cozy Grove.
Yeah, it's kind of like Animal Crossing, where you do a whole bunch of little tasks for townspeople, sort of thing. Except that you're a spirit scout, abandoned on an island full of ghosts. And they're all like bears, these ghosts. You're human, but all the characters are like animals. And you have to perform these duties. Sorry, my clock is dinging.
That's awesome.
That's loud.
It is loud, yeah.
Morgana, in the house I grew up in, sorry to interrupt, my dad had like antique clocks, like 6 of them. And whenever my friends would come over to like spend the night or whatever, they would get freaked out because sometimes
Yeah.
they'd like ring in the middle of the night. They're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, this was James's folks' clock, and my mother-in-law wasn't really winding it anymore and wasn't using it, and James decided we should have it. So we have when Severina, when we visited my mother-in-law a couple years ago, Severina was very young. She used to call it noisy clock. It's noisy clock.
Mm-hmm.
Except she could barely pronounce her L, so we were like, we really need to get a handle on those L's, kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cozy Grove. So you do all these tasks for these ghosts as they're trying to like regain their memories and figure out why they become ghosts. But it's super cute and like really funny. Like there's every now and then you can go and chat with them and they'll be like, I was just thinking it's really important to to have friendships and relationships. Like, what if you get sick and you have to crowdfund your appendectomy? It's like shit like that. like
That's in the game? Jesus.
Yeah, it's in the game. There's like anti-capitalist screeds, these like characters. It's really funny. It's a cute little indie game. It's a lot of fun. If you like kind of dark humor and games like Animal Crossing where you can kind of like drop in and do some little tasks and then fuck off for months and go back later and start again. It's fun because I played this months and months ago. I bought it and I think it works a little bit better on PC. I'm playing it on a Switch and the controls are a little bit weird. A little not super intuitive. I'm wondering if it's better on a PC, but it's fun. It's cute. That's what I've been doing with my spare time.
That looks cool.
Looks nice. Darfox and I have been slowly chipping away at Elden Ring DLC. That's what we've been doing.
That's a lot of fun. That is, that's a lot of game. Like we've been playing a while, and Douglas is like, "Yeah, we're about halfway." I'm like, "The fuck." That's a lot.
Yeah, we've put in quite a lot of hours, but I think we've only seen about half of what that game has to offer.
To be fair, our hours are always artificially inflated because we play the game twice. Because the way
this is true, yeah.
The way that game's co-op works, that we had to go through it on your game and my game, so we almost always play everything twice. Some things you handle on your own. But yeah, I mean, we get those games so rarely that it's a treat, anyways.
We're savoring the experience.
Yes.
But yes, okay, we will end what you've been reading and what you've been playing, and move right along. And let's talk about what we're going to do next week before we get to our main segment. It's happening. I think our listener Vicky has been waiting for this, but we're starting the Oku, the Inner Chambers retrospective next week. Seamus will be back. It's time to dig into Fumi Yoshinaga's alternative history of Edo-era Japan, where the rulers of the country were not men, but women. And the inner chambers like refers to basically they had like the shogun or the ruler of the country had his own personal harem to make sure that he was able to secure an heir, a son, to be the next shogun. And so yeah, we're finally gonna read Oak the Inner Chambers, the whole thing, all 19 volumes. We'll be starting out with the first 3 volumes, and basically reading 3 volumes per retrospective episode, but I hope Seamus did the homework, because I don't know how much time I'm going to have to do the research for this. But there's apparently a lot of like connections on like, because Fumi Yoshinaga based a lot of the history of what happens based on the actual Japanese history, just, you know, gender reverse the roles. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm a little worried, but also kind of excited. This has been a long time in the making. We've kept our coffee, you know, supporters waiting because this got funded a while ago. Didn't this get funded last year? Or was it this year?
No, I
okay,
think
it was last year. Yeah. I mean, they'll be waiting a long time for that Land of the Lustrous one after this as well. But yeah, finally getting away from all these triple dips and one shots, going back to our retrospective roots, doing a whole series.
Except for the first retrospective of 2024. It must be.
I think it is. I don't. Yeah, we haven't. Wait, didn't we do Planet Test? Well, no, that was last year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, next week, Oku the Inner Chambers, retrospective, episode 1, volumes 1 through 3. Look forward to it.
Please enjoy.
Okay, before we get to our main segment, we're gonna take a quick break, shut down the stream. But when we come back, it'll be Shoujo Manga time. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, we are back for our main segment, a shoujo showdown. We got 3 different shoujo manga, checking out volume 1 of each, seeing what we would keep reading, picking our favorites. For this shoujo showdown, we'll be looking at My Love Mix-Up, Otomen, and In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. Morgana, why don't you pick the order of what we're going to read?
All right.
And talk about. That's what I meant.
I want to preface this first by saying I did not intentionally pick titles that were like messing with gender norms and like sexuality. This was not intentional. I had only read Otomen before this, so and the other ones I just picked because they were ones I've been meaning to read. So just want to be clear.
Thematically all seem to line up for some reason.
Yeah, it was really, as I was reading them, I was like, oh shit, did I theme this?
We just got that manga magic, you know. We know how to like group things. We literally picked these 5 minutes for last week's episode. We're like,
right?
What the fuck do we do? As we always scramble before every episode. It's like, what are we doing next week?
Tapping into the morphogenic field.
That's how it goes.
You just knew.
Speaking of Otomen, I guess let's start there. That's what I had read before, and I knew kind of what to expect, although I had forgotten some parts of it.
All right, we're going to talk about Otomen. It is a manga by Aya Kanno. It came out originally in 2006. It is a total of 18 volumes, put out in English by Viz, original Japanese publisher Haku Sensha, serialized in Besatsu Hana to Yume magazine. Hold on, I should open up my Kindle app to check the localization credits. Hold on. Give me a moment. While we wait for this, I guess we can say hi to Chris from Canada in the chat.
I got it if you need it.
I got it. Okay, localization team. Translation and adaptation by Lindsay Akashi. Touch-up art and lettering by Mark McMurray. Design Fawn Lau. Editor Amy Yu. The English version came out in 2009. All right, let me read the copy over on Viz. Asuka Masamune is a guy who loves girly things. Sewing, knitting, making cute stuffed animals, and reading shoujo comics. But in a world where boys are expected to act manly, Asuka must hide his beloved hobbies and play the part of a masculine jock instead. Ryo Miyakozuka, on the other hand, is a girl who can't sew or bake a cake to save her life. Asuka finds himself drawn to Ryo, but she only likes the manliest of men. Can Asuka ever show his true self to anyone, much less to the girl that he's falling for? So yeah, that's the premise here. Main character Asuka, even though he is a black belt in karate and judo, and he is the national champion of kendo, bamboo stick sword fighting. In secret, he loves sewing and knitting, but he has to hide that because of some family trauma. And then he hides his secret at school, and then a transfer student named Ryo comes in, and he's immediately attracted to her. And she is just like not cannot do any of that stuff that he likes. And it is a romance. There's also a third character whose name I forget because I read this first at the beginning of last week. What was his name?
Oh gosh. I gotta take notes. I can't remember either.
I know, right? It's like my brain doesn't function. Oh, Juta? It's Juta.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Juta is the Playboy character, and it seems like he's into Ryo, but it turns out he's actually into Asuka and Ryo because Juta is a secret shoujo manga author who writes Asuka's favorite shoujo manga, Love Chick.
Love Chick.
What was it? Love Chick. What a
Love
title.
chick.
Yeah.
Hello, love chick.
Which is actually based on Asuka, except in like Juta's shoujo manga, Asuka is the girl, and Ryo is the guy. Morgana, you said you read this before, right?
Yep.
How was it revisiting Otomen?
So I had remembered the cute bits about how like he's a guy who's having a hard time because he's trying to hide his feminine interests. I had forgotten about the manga angle, which I think is actually quite fun. I had also forgotten the origin of his trauma,
Yes.
Yep. Mhm.
Which-
Yep.
might be why I didn't keep reading this series. I mean, it's cute and fun, but I read the first one and it was like, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I'll read more of this someday, and I didn't. For the listeners, Asuka's dad abandoned their family because, quote, I've always wanted to be a woman. And his mother had like a nervous breakdown and was like, when she discovered her son was into feminine things, was like, no, you can't be like your father. So he changed, and they still refer to the father as he and all that. There's a whole there's baggage. There's some baggage with that.
Everybody,
that plot.
this reads like something that was written in 2006.
Sure does. I do appreciate that there is no, Asuka's friends are not judging him for having feminine interests. There's still
Yet.
well, yeah.
This is only volume 1.
Yes, but there's the understanding that he's still a guy. He just likes cute things, or he's just good at baking, or whatever. Which I appreciate, and I think it's really funny to have a feminine male protagonist and a masculine and kind of ditzy female love interest. Like, she's totally oblivious.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fun setup, and I like the comedy. That's one of my more. I enjoy a lot of comedy, and I like rom-coms, not just straight up romance most of the time. So I think there's a good deal of that. A lot of that is Juta. He's really funny. I like his angle, his reasons for wanting to get them together. I also am curious to see if there's for him kind of a the growth as a mangaka who's he can't just rely on copying somebody's life word for word onto his, you know what I mean? Like, will he learn that he has the ability to write his own story without having to mess with Asuka's life?
Just gotta read more to find out, I suppose. Darfox, what did you think of Otomen?
I mean, I like it as well. It's very sweet. If it wasn't for the bit about his father, but everything about it is pretty nice. And kind of refreshing. It's most of it holds up pretty well. That's just the one big sore spot in the story. Yeah, I like the girl character. I like the kind of interactions between Asuka and the crush's dad. That got pretty goofy and fun.
Make him your wife.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really cute, and it's pretty fun to read.
I agree with you both. I guess one negative I will say about this, because this was older manga, the translation feels a little old too. A lot of translated manga in this era had a lot of manga memes in it, Like sometimes they would be like things that were mentioned that didn't make any sense unless you know the reference. Like when Ryo invites Juta and Asuka to come over to her home, and she's like, "Here, I tried to make a cake," and then Juta thinks it looks like a Kyoshinhei. Did you guys both get that reference?
I got the Omu reference.
Not I.
Yeah, and then I read the back matter and I was like, oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, there is like a reference, like stuff in the back to explain it, but Darfox, it's the big huge monster weapon from Nausica
Oh, okay.
that's like falling apart in the movie at the end. That's why. Things like that, and some of that stuff is like how it was translated was not. I think translation now is like they want to go for things that aren't as like otaku like centric
Or obscure.
obscure. Yeah, they want to actually explain what it is for like a layman to read. I feel like manga still in this day was like, oh, we have our audience of and our community of people who are otaku. They'll get these references.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of manga publishers who are publishing in English are hoping that they will also have casual readers, not necessarily like big fans all the time.
Yeah, like when Juta, Ryo, and Asuka go on, they go out to the movies. Asuka thought he was going on a single date, but it turns out it was with Juta when they were having a fight. And they watched the Heels of Men, Kakato, which great translation there, great translation, because literally Kakato means heel. Heels of Men, heel. And then they're fighting and they're just doing mada 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 and ora ora ora, which is like a JoJo reference. I laughed. I was like, yeah, I know what you're doing here. It's pretty good. People reading at the time would probably get that JoJo reference. So yeah, it was fun. I will say the final chapter in this volume 1 was about horoscopes and blood types, and it was mostly about horoscopes. So, which that's fine, but man, it just makes me laugh how like the Japanese public was so into blood type personalities when that is not a thing anywhere else. It's such a weird Japanese specific like thing.
It's kind of funny too, because like you don't have a whole lot of options for blood type. I mean, I guess there's positive and negative, but like there are only 4.
There's about 4 type of people in the world.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's how they would do it.
But also, like, do you guys know your blood type?
I do.
No, actually.
I happen to know mine because I gave blood, and then I've had kids, so I know my blood type. But because that fun fact, if your kid has a different blood type than you, they might need to get something extra when you're giving birth. I don't remember the details, but it's important to know if your kid has a different blood type than you when you're giving birth. My kid does, but yeah, I was like, I remember reading that as reading manga as a kid, like shoujo manga that had like blood type stuff, and I was like, I don't even know what my blood type is. Like, I have no clue.
I took AP Bio in high school, and we had a class where we checked our blood types.
That's fun.
I am B negative.
I'm O positive.
Don't be negative.
It kind of matches me. Also, my wife is B positive.
Oh, funny.
Oh.
You guys balance each other out.
I think my wife would argue that she is the B negative one.
I think in an emergency she can give you blood, but you can't give her blood.
What?
I think that's how that works. Yeah, because you have the same type but a different. I can't. What's it called? Yeah, I am O positive. Most anybody with positive type blood can receive blood from me.
Wow.
If you have O negative blood, anybody can take O negative blood in emergency. That's the universal donor.
So I remember O is universal and AB is actually pretty rare.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, O negative is like the most desirable, and as an O positive, I'm fairly desirable blood type, so I get a lot of people wanting my blood.
Everybody wants a piece of Morgana.
Getting back to Otomen, is there anything else you guys want to mention?
I'll say this is maybe just because of the era and what I stereotypically think about shoujo, but this is definitely the most shoujo looking um of the three we read. The other ones are a little more modern, so they don't have quite the amount of patterns and screen tone and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would
But
agree with that.
but this one is very like cutesy and free, and it also fits the whole premise because the whole premise that he likes girly stuff. So it's really easy to use that as a signifier of something that he's interested in or something that he likes and thinking about.
I like that one scene when he's doing the kendo practice with somebody and he sees like the tear in his kimono. And he's like, I want to fix it, and it's like a thread that turns into a heart behind him. Yeah, I dug the art by Aya Kanno.
Yeah, there are a few things of hers available in English. They're all like, so Otomen is a pretty decently long series. I think it might be like maybe 19 volumes or something like that.
18.
18. Okay, so but there are also a few like one shots and like 2-volume series that she did that are available in English. I like her artwork a lot. I've read a couple of her things. I can't remember any of the other ones very well, I have to admit, just because I've read too many manga in my life, and my memory is terrible. But yeah, she's pretty good, and I enjoy her art a lot. I like the way she draws male characters, and I think it's interesting that she's chosen to focus a shoujo manga on a male character, because that's not typical, especially a romance, a rom-com.
I don't know if there's anything else to mention about Otomen.
Is
It's
Otomen or it's a real term, right? Like it's not invented
I
by
don't
designer.
know. It's taken from otome, which means like ladylike or lady, and then combine that with men, right? So
Was that the name of the manga in
yeah.
Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Otomen. Okay.
All right then. Darfox, did this make your shoujo heart go doki doki?
Yes, it did. Um, Not to show my hand too early, but this might be my least favorite of the batch. Yes, I would say it did.
Interesting. What about you, Morgana?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I don't know that it's my like I obviously I've read this volume before and did not immediately need to devour the rest of the series, so I'm curious about reading more, but I'm not like I'm also not you know, I I have mixed feelings about this one, and yeah, in the Clear Moonlit Dusk, and where I rank them even, and we'll talk about that later, but yes and no, maybe.
I would say this one made my shoujo heart chuckle
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
was
Chuckle, chuckle.
it was a little bit more funny, like you mentioned, Morgana. It's more of a
yeah.
romantic comedy instead of going straight doki doki. Plus, knowing that it takes 18 volumes, I'm like, oh, we're gonna be chuckling for a while.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
Slow
long, slow
burn.
burn.
Juta's gonna go crazy.
Well, all right, let's move along from Otomen. Morgana, what shall we talk about next?
Well, I already mentioned it, so let's talk about In the Clear Moonlit Dusk.
Okay, In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. It's a manga by Mika Yamamori, started in 2020. It runs in Dessert Magazine, put out by Kodansha. It's 7 volumes and ongoing currently, and it's put out in English by Kodansha USA. for the localization. Oh, there's no actually named translator on this. Is there? It just says English translation copyright. Mikayama Mori. Ooh, I don't like that.
I feel like sometimes with the Kodansha ones you have to dig to find it. Let me take a look too.
Oh wait, I found it. Original digital edition translation, Jessica Lathrow. Original digital edition lettering, Viet Phung Vu. Sorry, I butchered your name. Print edition lettering, Lies Blakesley. Print edition editing, Vanessa Tenazes. Cover design by Abigail Blackman. There we go. We got there. It was on the page. It was just at the bottom. All right, let me read the copy. Yoi Takiguchi's long legs, deep voice, and handsome face are the perfect recipe for an attractive guy, until people realize she is, in fact, a girl. Dubbed a prince by her peers since childhood, Yoi has all but given up on being seen as anything else. That is, until she bumps into Ichimura Senpai, the school's other prince, who's a he, and gets a taste of what it feels like to be seen for her true self. The story of two high school princes starts here. Little fun copy. Something I should mention about the title, because the title confused me until I saw that the Japanese title is Uruwashi no Yoi no Tsuki. And so Yoi is Dusk, and that is the name of our main character. But when you translate it, turns into Moonlit Dusk. So it seems like there's no connection, but the connection is her name. So there you go. Let's start with Darfox on this. What did you think about In the Clear Moonlit Dusk?
I liked it. It was nice to see. I guess I don't know this matchup. I don't know. I feel weird calling a matchup like it's a Pokemon battle or something. But it's a beautiful woman, but a lot of their appeal might be described as masculine, or you could try and describe it as that. This is a very like Japanese thing, because I feel like, man, maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong. You might have a different opinion, but like they're like in America, a tall woman with like a deeper voice wouldn't immediately be like male coded, or like have a lot of the complexes that this character has. But maybe I'm talking out of my ass because I haven't been a woman in America. But like it's nice because, well, I guess what I liked about the story is that it's about like characters feeling seen. And there was a line at a certain point in the story where the male prince was talking to like the third character. Each of these manga have like a third character that like hangs around. I forgot
A third wheel.
Yeah, yeah. He was talking to the third character, and they were asking him what they like about the lady prince, and he was kind of like just describing what was appealing about her. And then the third guy was like, "Oh, so it's like you just want to like sleep with her or whatever, or have your way with them." And he was like, "Is that like why do you have to say it like that? Like he clearly desires her and he does want to sleep with her, but like it doesn't immediately have to be like a demeaning or objectifying thing." And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Because they're in high school.
Right.
I don't know. I guess. Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
you're
yeah.
totally right.
I agree. I like that part because I think that it's easy to be like, "Oh, how dare you like want to get into somebody's pants," but like you're attracted to somebody. That's
That's natural.
part of it, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
like it doesn't have to be the focus, but it
Yeah.
happens. I like it's not crazy though. Like
Sorry, I just realized I said it's natural, but there are people who are asexual too. So
sure, but
yeah,
it's not
It's not
you
it's not
know,
uncommon. It's
right.
and if you like somebody a lot, and if you're not asexual, then it's gonna be you know um part of your interest, and it isn't if 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 it doesn't end and begin there, it's not a bad thing. You're not objectifying the person or like disrespecting the person.
Yeah, and if on top of all of that you're a horny teenage boy, lots of hormones. I mean, like you can't demonize that. Like I there's a there's like a it's like a double-edged sword here. Like I know that there are a lot of issues surrounding the fact that we cater too much in society to the desires of men and young men. But on the other hand, like we can't vilify young male sexuality either. Like that's not the that's not the route we want to take. Like you want to have like healthy kind of reactions to your desires and impulses. That's the goal.
Hmm.
And this is, I mean, honestly, a very mature perspective. Like, yeah, I mean, yes, I desire her, I'm attracted to her, but like that's not a bad thing. There's other parts of her that I enjoy, like that I like and that are important to me. So
yeah. We got this title from our listener Vicky Dalton, who was doing her line wide sale bowl over on her Instagram. This is one of the titles she read, and she mentioned on her write up for this that she liked it. She liked the romance, but it's just focusing on these two main characters, and she wished that there were some more side characters to interact with. I think, yeah, that's the reason why that thing kind of sounds like it's out of the blue, because we don't have any established real side characters to like suddenly interject. And suddenly the male prince, his friends are just like, "You just want to get in her pants." It's like, what? Huh?
yeah, and the lack of other characters is kind of goes into my criticism, which is that there's very little comedy.
This is more straight romance and straight
Yeah,
drama.
and I liked it, and I liked the artwork a lot. I mean, this spread that Darfox has up on YouTube is really lovely. I think the character designs are fun. I am a sucker for a female prince character. I went to high school with somebody who is actually a trans man, but was not out in high school, and was the kind of student that all the girls, even if they were straight, were like, "Wow, uh, like this person is hot. I'm into this person." So there are. I mean, again, this person's not actually female. They're a trans man, but um, this archetype does exist. I think in real life sometimes somebody who's
That's very impressive.
yeah.
I literally never experienced that, but then again, I only had one life. you know.
Yeah, it's wild. And I went to a Catholic school, so he was, I don't know, there was something about him, you again, even before he was out and all of that, where like girls really gravitated toward him, and he treated girls really nicely. He was very much like, I mean, he was also kind of a bit of a troublemaker. He hung out with a lot of guys, but like I don't know, there's something about him, like he just had this kind of, there was the androgyny there, and the like uh, yeah, it's really hard to explain, but every girl I know was like, whew, uh it's really funny. So yeah, this archetype exists, and I went to a Catholic school. preface of those. I know, kind of an interesting setting for this arrangement. But yeah, girls that I think that at one point he had a girlfriend, somebody else in our class who was straight girl until that point, or again, kind of convoluted because he wasn't out yet, but um yeah, it's very real. And I'm a sucker for it. I love the princely woman, the Sailor Uranus character type, you know, something very appealing about it. But I also like that Yoi, it's not even that she doesn't like being a prince, but that she wants acknowledgement that she is a girl, right? Like she wants acknowledgement that she has a feminine side, or feminine qualities, or feminine desires, right? And that is what the other prince is going to kind of give her in this. He has been kind of providing her with those glimpses, and she doesn't trust it, to a degree. She's like, you're making fun of me.
Listen, the reason that she shouldn't trust him is Kohaku Ichimura, the other male prince. This man does not exist in real life. That was my thought about reading this Morgana.
This kind of
high school student,
suave, mature.
Yes.
I mean, that's why it's a romance.
You never met me when I was in high school.
It's the fantasy, but like I was like almost at the end of this book, and suddenly I was like, wait a minute, because I was getting swept away in the romance, and my shoujo heart's going a little doki doki. But then I was like, wait a minute, this guy is too suave, and this is not real. Of course, it's not real because I'm reading a fictional book. But I was just like, this man doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, I mean that's every love interest in a romance.
Mm-hmm.
They're all terrible, which is to say they're all absurd, like just absurd, not realistic at all.
This guy's too perfect for her. I still like this book though.
There was small bits of humor. There was just like either dry or really simple. I like how she would adopt a karate pose.
Yes,
whenever she thought that he was basically like lying to her or playing around with her emotions.
But compared to the other two, where there's like an extreme of like facial expression, there's a lot of dynamism in the other two that we read versus this one. Which I guess isn't a bad thing. It's just not entirely to my taste.
I wouldn't object to somebody calling this dry. Like it's on like a negative, but it is a little bit dry.
I think it's only dry for us because we're 3 adults. I bet a teen reading this would totally be into this.
Yeah, I could see myself if I was younger, 20 years younger, being like,
getting caught
oh my
up
God.
in this cute romance.
Yeah, definitely.
My cold dead like adult heart is like, yeah, this guy doesn't exist. It'd be nice. It would be nice to be swoon away by this nice, perfect guy, but in high school. But it's not real.
It's not real, man.
Damn it. Yeah, I don't like. I feel like we've said it all already.
I did like how. Well, I guess anything could happen in volume 2. But I did like how it ended with like them being like, okay, let's date. Fine.
Yes.
Let's try it out. The first page of volume 2 could be like, on second thought, nah. But I don't think it will be. I think they're just gonna like go through the motions and see how it feels, and they'll probably have setbacks and set forwards and whatever.
I like the translation note in the back that explained that the Nasu Oyaji, or Uncle Eggplant, is a real curry restaurant in Tokyo. Then I was like, I want to go there.
Is it weird for somebody to like pour a thermos of curry out during lunchtime?
I mean, they have
Is that
like
considered like too much?
they have like thermos containers now where you can have hot meals and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, traditionally they have their box lunches or whatever. So
She was
it
like,
would.
"Oh no, he saw me use my curry." So I just thought that
Yeah.
bit was weird.
I
I
think
mean,
curry would be a little shocking. That's why he was shocked. He was like, "Huh, curry? Really?"
like a lot of food, maybe. Or like, is it more associated with dinner? Like, I'm just thinking, like, I used to bring leftovers for lunch all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. I would bring some like so in Japan they have hamburger steak, which is essentially like a Salisbury steak. You know, it's
Hmm.
just like a ground patty with some other stuff in it. Usually, like the differing fact is there's onions, and that you use a piece of bread soaked in milk to add as like a what's the term to connect things, make them stick.
Binding
A
agent.
binding agent, yeah. And you know, I would have that for dinner. And then on the next day, my mom would put that between two pieces of, you know, regular white bread with a little lettuce, and that would be my sandwich at lunch. I remember in high school, some of my friends would look at me like, "The hell is that?" Because it wasn't a traditional ham and cheese. So, you know, I can see some people reacting like, "Oh, that's different." Maybe not necessarily in a bad way of like, "Ew," but more
Right.
just like, "Whoa, I didn't
Y-
expect to see that."
Yeah. During this conversation, I was reminded about this meme about like what Chinese bring for lunch to work, and it's about like in the meme skit, it's like the white coworkers all have like a sandwich or something, and they're making fun of the Chinese coworker because he brought like a stir fry, but then they keep upping the ante where he takes out like a fried fish, and then he takes out a bottle of wine, and then he takes out like a bunch of like really extravagant stuff for lunchtime, and it's just like, yeah, I guess it's the expectations of like lunchtime is supposed to be something simple and quick, but it could be something a little bit more hearty.
Lunch can be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, grandkid of immigrants, so I had some interesting lunches growing up, and it's interesting. I wonder if kids are more open-minded about lunches now than they were when like we were growing up. I never got like really teased for it, but definitely sometimes people are like, "What are you eating?" You know, I would have a sandwich, but it would have like mortadella on it, which is basically just bologna, but it looks a
But
little
it's
different.
good bologna.
It's good, exactly.
It's so good.
It's
Mortadella's
so
so
good.
good.
Mortadella is my favorite. I love it, but you know, stuff like that. So I'd have salami sandwiches or whatever. You know, on like a Portuguese roll instead of like white bread. Like,
I think it just
so
depends on where you are. If there's a
yeah,
community of like people who are like immigrants or like from different parts of the world, it's not going to be that weird. But if you're
yeah,
like in, I don't know, the boonies of like Midwest, maybe.
yeah, yeah. Don't make fun of other people's lunches, guys.
You
Everybody
shouldn't.
should eat what they enjoy,
But,
unless
you know,
they're, you know, I don't know, eating children in front of. I don't know. Like, I just there are very few
eating
things.
children? Did
There,
you
Yeah.
I'm
just...
just saying there are very few things that warrant you being critical of somebody else's food.
Yeah, I think cannibalism definitely like hits that
Yeah,
mark.
yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else to say about In the Clear Moonlit Dusk?
Pretty.
Very pretty. Darfox, did this make your shoujo heart go doki doki?
Yeah. More than anything, I wanted to be the big cat for somebody to sleep next to.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad somebody brought that up. What about you, Morgana?
Yeah, I would say there was a little doki doki going on. There's some, I mean, there's some pretty thrilling moments. Like you said, this doesn't exist, but that's the fantasy, right? That's what makes you excited.
This made my young heart go doki doki. Until my, cold dead adult heart was like, this is bullshit. This ain't real. Would you keep reading more, Morgana?
Yeah, I'd like to give it another volume. I don't know if it stays kind of like this, if there's not a little bit more humor or other characters, I might fall off of it. But I'd like to give it another volume first.
Yeah, I think I'd read another volume of this, maybe more than Otomen, because I think I know like how Otomen will go, no matter whatever other elements they add in Otomen. I'm a little unsure of like what else, where this is gonna go in the clear Moonlit Dusk. Like, will we, see more side characters? Will we just see more romance between these two? I want to see more of the princes. What about you, Dar?
Yeah, I would read more.
Okay, very nice. Then it's time to move along to our final shoujo showdown selection, My Love Mix-Up. So My Love Mix-Up is a manga. It's written by Wataru Hinekure, and the art is done by Aruko, which some people might recognize as the artist for My Love Story, a beloved shoujo manga that Darfox and I adore. Let's see, this started in... do I have a date on this? Okay, I don't have a year on this. We read this on the Viz app, so that's why I don't have a lot of quick access to some translation, some localization facts. It's Shueisha, put out in English by Viz. The English staff, translation Jan Cash, adaptation Jan Cash, design Yukiko Whitley, editing Nancy Thistlewaite, touch-up art and lettering by Inori Fukuda Trant. Let me go ahead and read the copy over on the Viz website. Aoki has a crush on Hashimoto, the girl in the seat next to him in class. But he despairs when he borrows her eraser and sees she's written the name of another boy, Ida, on it. To make matters more confusing, Ida sees Aoki holding that very eraser and thinks Aoki has a crush on him. BL Love Triangle! So there you go. That's the love mix-up we have here. Hold on.
Critically, Aoi tries to keep the secret for Hashimoto, so he's like, "It's my eraser."
Yeah, speaking of guys who don't exist, what an upstanding dude.
See, toxic modern culture will call him a sib, but I will call him an upstanding dude. From one to another, I will call him an upstanding dude.
No, like, good for him. I mean, not good for him. He should have just been like, I found this eraser. Like, I feel like he could have backed out of this. There were a couple ways he could have backed out of this gracefully.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like it would require quick thinking, but he could have been like, "Oh, we had a school project that we had to write on everybody's name in an eraser, and we passed it around." Or like he could have bullshitted anything, but he just like, "Oh, it's mine."
And then suddenly Ida's like, Aoki likes me? Oh no, wait, what? And then we have a possible blossoming BL between Aoki and Ida. I want to say that the title of this in English, My Love Mix-Up, is very much a play on My Love Story, the other manga drawn by Haruko. And Viz knew what they were doing with that.
They want to get those numbers.
They want to get that connection because the Japanese title is Kieta Hatsukoi, which literally means the vanishing of my first love. Which doesn't really have any mix up there.
It sounds so dismal.
Yeah.
Depressing. This is not a depressing book.
No.
No, it's very much in comedy with the mix up of like who likes who. But then it seems like, yeah, Aoki might be into Ida. And maybe Ida might be into Aoki. And also, Aoki's crush, Hashimoto, that eraser didn't say Ida. It said Ida, which is the goofy guy, the playboy guy. That's the other friend.
Who's terrible.
He doesn't...
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that's one of my favorite, like, end of volume twist I've ever read.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that...
coming?
No. When I read this, I was behind, so I was reading it at work, right? And I didn't get to read like the last chapter, and I said, "Oh, like I read most of the book. I know what I'm getting into." So then I went home and I was eating and preparing for the podcast, setting up the stream and everything. But I said, okay, I got some time. Let me make sure I could squeeze in the last chapter. It was not optional. Like that
right, yeah.
That last chapter is like really cinches that this book is all about, like the mix up in these characters and their interest, and it's all like crisscross together.
Yeah, because at first, as I'm reading through, I'm like, this could all be solved by polyamory, my friends. This is a solvable problem. But then, yeah, that last... So I actually read this one first. And I came to the end of the volume, or the chapters in the volume, and I was like, shit, I want to read more. But if I read more, I'll get caught up in reading this, and I have other books to read first. So I haven't gone back yet, but I gotta say, that is quite the shoe to drop right at the end of a volume.
Listen, I knew when like that eraser dropped and it said Ida, I was like, that eraser has been used a little. It probably had a different name on it.
Oh, look at you.
I knew. And it wasn't like exactly revealed like early on because they kept referring to Ida as Akkun, his nickname as well. Right. And so like they were like working around that. But I was like, there's no way. There's no way it's just Ida. And of course, at the end of volume 1, Hashimoto is like, my crush is Ida, not Ida. Like, listen, Haruko does one thing better than the other two manga artists that we looked at this week. And that is the fucking comedy and the expressions of like like despair.
Yes.
And like it's so good. It's such good comedic faces.
Yes. And just like the understanding that Aoki caught feelings completely without reason. Like, he liked this girl and was protecting her, and then oops, he started to fall for the guy. He totally... It didn't need to happen. It never needed to happen because this wasn't even the right guy. So now he's like, he's got these feelings for this guy that he never would have had if he had just been like a normal dude and come up with some kind of other excuse.
It's happening. The BL is happening. Just let it wash over us.
Oh, hey, I'm not complaining.
Hell
it's just,
yeah.
This comedy of errors stuff is great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
If he would have had his own school supplies, this never would have happened.
Right? He could have just said, oh, I borrowed it from one of our female classmates, and not said it. You know what I mean? Like just not said who it was. He could have still protected her without getting himself tangled up in this. What a dummy.
Yeah.
He's a dummy.
What an adorable dummy.
He's an adorable dummy.
There's what scene was it? The scene when they're trying to choose who would take the place of the in the school play where
Oh, the Cinderella, yeah.
where they point to Ida and it's like goofball. They point to the main guy and it's like fool, and then the rest of them are just mob characters, and it's like yeah, that's like their character.
I also want to say I appreciate that Ida, when confronted with the possibility that Aoki has a crush on him, is adamant that he's not interested, but also very considerate of what he believes are Aoki's feelings. He's not here like, ew, that's gross, I'm not gay, whatever. He's very conscious of like, hey, this guy has some feelings for me, and that's, you know, that's I should respect that, right? Like, and like at the cast party afterward when the guys are all like teasing Aoki for being Cinderella or whatever, being in love with Ida, and he's like, hey, it's not funny, and Ida's like, yeah, no, it's really not funny, guys. I was like, whoa, that's like, I mean, no wonder you're falling in love with this dude. Speaking of guys who don't exist. I feel like I had heard some criticism of this series. I don't remember what it was, and I from this first volume I can't figure out what it would be. Something about how it handles sexuality, I think.
Oh no.
But I don't remember, and I don't want to like. We should just read it for ourselves, I think, is basically what I'm saying. I want to read more of it. I might have already said that.
Yep. I totally want to read more of this. My shoujo heart, or maybe my BL heart, is going doki doki.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
There's lots of doki going on.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm sure the writing of Wataru Hinekure is great, but also it's just the execution by Aruko's art. It's a home run of comedy.
Yeah,
and entertainment.
Every single one of Aoki's faces is like comedy gold.
Yep. It's so much. If like Dar, you know My Love Story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's way more like slapstick and like over the top type of comedy that's happening compared to My Love Story.
Yeah,
even though like you can think of like the weird like crazy expressions of Takeru.
Yeah, Goda Takeru.
Mm-hmm.
It has like fits and bursts of it where it gets really silly, but it's usually in moments where the characters are really manic, so it isn't always happening.
Yep. But this is wacky hijinks throughout. It's great. Are we missing anything about My Love Mix-Up? Anything we have yet to mention or we should talk about?
Oh, I do want to mention that when Aoki confesses to Hashimoto that he might also like Ida, that's another instance where she was very supportive too. She didn't think it was weird, and even though it would make them rivals, and then you find out that they wouldn't be rivals anyway. But I appreciated that. I'm glad we're not doing the whole like, ew, you nasty gay thing. I realize there's like time and a place when that is an important part of the story, but it's exhausting. It's nice to have like a character with, potentially queer character with, other characters who support them instead of being assholes. That face on the Star Fox has up on the screen right now, like
it's so good. It's so good. Morgana, did this make your shoujo heart go doki doki?
hell yeah.
Yep. What about you, Dar?
Yes.
Nice. I guess the question next is, would you keep reading more, Dar?
Yes. This is definitely the better of the batch. I'm sorry to be so definitive.
I'm inclined to agree.
Morgana, you said you would read more. I would read more of this as well.
I guess it's time for a Twibble dip.
Possibly. We need to do our ranking of these three, though. I think the issue is I enjoyed all three of these.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's My Love Mix-Up is at the top.
Yeah, that's the trouble I'm having too. That one's definitely like a clear first, and the other two I can't really figure out how I feel about them. Like there are things about both of them I really liked and criticisms of them both that I have, but neither of them make it in neither circumstance does it really like, well, then I don't like this one. You know what I mean, or whatever. I'd be interested in reading more of both of the other ones, but I am not rushing for either.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say that for me personally, I'm gonna put In the Clear, Moonlit, Dusk second, and I'll put Otomen at a third. But they're all like, it's like by no big gaps in between them. What about you, Dar?
Same order as you. Maybe a bigger gap between first and second. Because I thought my love
you think My Love Mix-Up is way better?
Is a laugh a minute, laugh riot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think My Love Mix-Up is the clear. I think it's a better manga. I mean, like for various reasons, but I think it just really works. The other two, originally when I was thinking about the rankings before the podcast, before we were recording, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do Otomen second and In the Clear, Moonlit, Dusk third because I really like the comedy aspect. But now I'm wondering, like, I feel like I like the romance aspect of In the Clear, Moonlit, Dusk, even though there's no comedy. So I don't know.
Yeah, see, Morgana, that's my reason it's second, because
Yeah.
Ultimate, even though it has more comedy, I think that added with like the older translation that's happening as well, and the older gags and the very questionable like trauma for Asuka. It's just like this did not age better.
Yeah, I might have the same ranking too then. But again, I don't want to make it seem like Otomen was bad because it wasn't. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm eager to read more My Love Mix-Up, like kind of chomping at the bit. And it's on the Viz app. It's all right there.
Easy access.
Yeah. If you've got the Viz app, if you've got a subscription, I recommend it.
All right, very, very nice. We have the same Otome heart.
It's true.
Okay, so that will be the end of our podcast then. I want to thank Darfox and Morgana for joining me this week. Shout out to Chris from Canada who popped in our chat. If you want to watch the recording of this episode, head over to youtube.com/MangaMacTV. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. While you're at it, why don't you subscribe to our other YouTube channel, Manga Mac Watches, where we do watch-alongs of current anime. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast proper. Find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else. Leave reviews and comments. Check out our website, mangamachinations.com. Our Tumblr is mangamachinations.tumblr.com. If you want to support us, buy us a coffee. Head over to ko-fi.com/mangamac, and you can help fund our future manga projects. Come join our Discord server, discord.me/mangamac. We've been a little lax in playing Mahjong every Monday because we've been busy, but hopefully we'll get back to that. But yeah, in general, come join the Discord server and come talk to us. Discord.me/mangamac. You can send us emails, mangamachinations@gmail.com. And follow us on social media at Manga Mac Podcast. That's Manga MAC Podcast. That's for Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, everything else. Follow my personal social media at Dogazoo. Follow Darfox at Darfox8. And follow Morgana at Morgana Relina. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us this week. Bye.